Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Schultz, NFL teams high on Kyle McCord, Steelers could be in the mix for him. Though most of the airwaves have been filled by talk of Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and Jaxson Dart, it could be Syracuse QB Kyle McCord who comes away from the 2025 NFL Draft as the Pittsburgh Steelers' newest quarterback. Despite being under-discussed in media circles, Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz hears NFL teams are big fans. Keep a close eye on Syracuse's Kyle McCord, as well, Schultz wrote in his latest Fox Sports NFL Confidential. The nation's most prolific passer last season is generally viewed in higher regard by teams than most draft analysts, and certainly most fans. McCord is publicly viewed as a late day 2 or early day 3 selection. In Dane Brugler's draft guide, McCord is the 7th best quarterback with a 3rd to 4th round projection. The Jets and Steelers, regardless of whether Aaron Rodgers signs, will be looking to draft a quarterback. McCord could be in the mix for either club, Schultz wrote of where he may land. After transferring from Ohio State, McCord led the Orange to a successful season in 2024. He led college football with 4,779 passing yards while his 34 touchdowns ranked 5th nationwide. The NFL loves a winner, and McCord helped Syracuse finish with its first 10-win season since 2018. Schultz notes teams were impressed by how McCord collected those wins, too. One stat that caught the eye of an NFC scout? The fact McCord went 9-4 in college when trailing, he wrote. His most notable comeback occurred late in the season against number 8 Miami, FL, and soon-to-be number 1 overall selection Cam Ward. Trailing 21-0 in the second quarter, Syracuse tied the game by the early third and outscored Miami 28-17 in the second half to score a massive 42-38 victory. McCord was excellent, throwing for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. Though some have questioned his arm strength, our scouting report spoke highly of his physical tools. We gave him a 4th-round grade with a Gardner Minshew 2 comparison. McCord is one of 4 quarterbacks the Steelers brought in for a visit this draft cycle, though they didn't send any big decision-maker to his pro day. Only intern Anthony Rooney attended. Still, the fact he came in for a visit is notable and puts McCord in play should Pittsburgh search for a quarterback at number 83 or number 123. Breakfast with Ben's NFL Draft Preview, not enough superhero in Shedeur Sanders, Jaxson Dart for Steelers. In the first podcast episode of our annual NFL Draft Preview series, we focus on the quarterback position. As recently as a few weeks ago, with the 21st pick in the first round, the Pittsburgh Steelers weren't expected to swim in those waters. However, with the draft a week away, Aaron Rodgers still hasn't signed a contract to be the Steelers' QB in 2025. Colorado signal caller Shedeur Sanders, a perceived top 5 pick for much of the pre-draft process, is beginning to slip in many projections, and Mississippi's Jaxson Dart is climbing to the point that he may get into the first round. So I began our first podcast by asking former NFL and college scout Matt Williamson of Steelers Nation Radio if he genuinely thinks that Sanders and Dart are worthy of being first-round picks. Dart, no. Sanders, maybe. Only at 21, not to trade up, Williamson said. Part of the reason Williamson is lukewarm on both Dart and Sanders going that high is the quality of competition the Steelers have to face when it comes to opposing quarterbacks in the AFC. The Steelers have to compete with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. The superheroes, Williamson said. I want to aim higher than Shedeur Sanders, whether that's this draft or, more likely, next draft. I don't see enough superhero in Shedeur Sanders or Jaxson Dart. Williamson credited Sanders for being accurate, tough and composed, but not physically unique. He gets a lot of help, at Colorado, from the screen game and Travis Hunter just bailing him out. He takes a lot of sacks that are on him. And, frankly, he just doesn't have an overwhelming skill set, Williamson said. If everything aligns, and his career maximizes his potential, he'll be the current version of Geno Smith. I think Smith is a really good player. But he's not a superhero. I'm looking for superheroes for the Steelers. As for Dart, Williamson said he might have more raw ability than Sanders but is further away from being a good NFL quarterback. Dart is bigger, stronger, faster, better arm. But he doesn't have any skill set that makes me jump up and down, Williamson continued. His deep ball isn't particularly good, and when they played the better defenses, teams took away the deep stuff, and Dart struggled even on a loaded Mississippi team. I think he needs a year minimum. And I don't think his upside is worth waiting a year, where I think Sanders could play earlier. But I don't think his upside is more so than Smith or Teddy Bridgewater. Steelers could close the door on Aaron Rodgers, land 134 touchdown QB instead. All of the signs for the Pittsburgh Steelers have pointed towards signing future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers in free agency. However, the fact that he still has not signed with the team has given reason to think that he's just not that interested. That may not be the case, but the Steelers have been very patient. They have met with Rodgers at their facilities and seen Rodgers work out with DK Metcalf, but they have still not received any form of commitment. With the 2025 NFL Draft set to begin on April 24, there is a very real chance that Pittsburgh could close the door on the idea of signing Rodgers and pursue another option instead. Depending on how the draft falls, there could be a couple of different options at the position for the Steelers. There is a chance that Shedeur Sanders could fall to the number 21 overall pick or that Pittsburgh could consider trading up for him. Another player to keep an eye on could be Ole Miss signal caller Jaxson Dart. Jalen Milroe is a third quarterback the Steelers have been connected to in recent days. In a new prediction, Pittsburgh would officially move on from Rodgers and draft their new quarterback of the future. Mike Renner of CBS Sports has predicted that the Steelers will end up getting Sanders at number 21 overall. He would give them a much brighter long-term outlook at the position than the team has had in years. Call it a slide if you want, but this is where most people I've talked to see Sanders as a talent, Renner wrote. The Steelers' desperation outweighs that of any other team in this area. Sanders is coming off of an impressive college football career. He played his first 2 seasons at Jackson State before finishing his last 2 with Colorado. Throughout his 4 total college seasons, Sanders completed 70.1% of his pass attempts for 14,347 yards, 134 touchdowns, and just 27 interceptions. Those numbers are hard to argue against when it comes to the arm talent Sanders possesses. And you fan? What do you think about Jaxson Dart's situation? Write to us in the comments.